So dingxiang, which are the cloves, which they dispel cold and also they aid the yang a little bit, so that helps with circulation. And they also, from a Western perspective, they use them to reduce pain. That's why they use them with dental problems. They tell you to chew clove right if you had a toothache, because it reduces pain a little bit. Muxiang, Athlandia, which is another warm herb, and it moves qi, it relieves pain and swelling. Ruxiang, right, which is frankincense. Very famous, it's another warm herb, very famous to move qi and alleviate pain. Probably one of the oldest medicinal substances. People have been using ruxiang for that purpose for probably at least a few thousand, a couple thousand years that we can document. Beyond that, we don't even have records for. Tanxiang, which is sandalwood. Sandalwood also a little bit warm, can move qi and alleviate pain. We also use a lot for like digestive complaints in Chinese medicine, so it would be interesting to use for. Use tanxiang. Xiaohuixiang, which is fennel seed. Xiaohuixiang is another warm medicine. It helps to disperse cold and alleviate pain, kind of similar to dingxiang. Okay. So those are our 5 fragrances in our 5 fragrance wand. Okay. And then in addition to that, we actually will add to that dangui, which is Chinese angelica. Dangui, right, moves and nourishes blood. It's a little bit warm also. Chuanzhong, which is going to move qi, right, and can invigorate blood. Another warm herb. Sumu, which is right here, actually. Sumu, which is sapinwood, another blood invigorating herb that's very common in a lot of traumatological formulas in Chinese medicine, and again used for pain and to invigorate blood. Huainishi, which is right here. Okay. Huainishi is another invigorate blood herb. The other thing that's sort of special about Huainishi is that it can also nourish blood, right? It nourishes the liver and kidney a little bit. It's also a guiding herb to the lower body. So Huainishi shows up in a lot of traumatological formulas. Actually, in most old books, they just call it Nishi, and they don't tell you whether it's Huainishi or Chuanishi. So I usually will pick depending on what the formula is for. Like if I need, if I've already got lots of invigorators, I might pick Huainishi because it's a little more nourishing. Or if I've already, if I need more blood invigoration, maybe I'll use Chuanishi. Okay. Where else was I talked about? Honghua, safflower, you guys are probably pretty familiar with for invigorating blood and dispelling stasis, right? Again, very, very common. A lot of traumatological formulas use honghua to invigorate blood. Moyao. So moyao, which is myrrh, and again, very old, famous herb for medicinal for treating pain and preserving things. I mean, in Chinese medicine, we use it to quicken the blood and reduce swelling. And usually it's part of a duiyao pair, right? So they mix moyao and ruxiang together. Based on what you kind of want it to do. Okay. So I think I'm gonna do this. Yeah, we'll just grind it and then we'll cook it first. Yeah, go ahead and. Well, here, no, wait, let me pour it in. And then we'll put it in. This thing is a little scary because the top doesn't stay in there. And then we're going to dry fry all this. Now, I'm going to put everything in except for the resins, right? Because we don't want to dry fry those because they'll just melt in the pan and make a mess, right? And then so what you do is you cook this stuff up. Let's grind it first. And I found this grinder seems to work better the more stuff is in it. This is a little well. I'm also going to keep out the big pion. Because we don't want to cook it really. We don't have to cook it, and we don't really want to. We just want to dissolve it in the stuff. Okay, so it's going to need. Go ahead and plug it in for me there. Thank you. Well, that's just for external use. Oh yeah, that's way more than we even needed it to be. Okay, so there's our stuff. And then I'm going to dry fry this.
Oh my goodness.
So one of the tips here too is that if you're going to dry fry stuff in a pan, you're going to want to dedicate a pan to this, okay? Because especially these formulas don't taste all that good, right? And what I found before is like I used my wife's pan once, and then she was cooking beans or something like that, and it was like you got beans that tasted like jjiao, and that was not popular. Yeah, she wasn't too happy.
Should you use a certain kind of pan like you do in Acupuncture?
I don't know if it's that, I'm that concerned with this one because it's not. I'm not going to eat it.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I don't want something that would maybe react with it much.
Right.
And so what we're going to do is just do a chow. You guys know culture, like. So chow means that you cook it just till you smell it. Does that make sense? Like it doesn't really. It's not calcified. It's not charred. It's like you toast it. Okay. So like, has anybody ever made like a curry? Right, so you know you make a curry where you put everything in the pan and you get just like you cook it just till you can smell everything. That's kind of what we're doing. Right, so it'll turn a little bit more of like a gold brown and it'll smell real strong. Okay, and when that's done, now we're done. So I'm not trying to calcify it or anything. Fast, maybe, but if you have the time to let this sit for a whole year, most people I know don't actually dry fry stuff.
So if you're doing it traditionally, you just grind it with your alcohol.
Yeah, and in fact, you wouldn't even have to grind it. Like we've made stuff at our school, we just get a great big bucket and we just dump all the herbs in there and then pour like a couple of gallons of alcohol in it and then you just put it in the closet until you think. Most typical, most typical like optimum concentration to remove stuff from herbs is about 35%. Okay, so 35% alcohol, which again, we're going to use is we're going to use really inexpensive vodka.
Bottom shelf vodka.
40 proof. It's 40%, right? It's 80 proof. Okay, so that's almost perfect. So in fact, we might add a little water to it, but like we don't have to. You know, and remember when they say wine, most of the time they mean more like distilled spirit, okay? Because usually the wines they were talking about were like 25-30% alcohol. So it was actually like, you know, especially if they say white.
At least the exterior was cheap.
Yeah, right. It's warm and acrid a little bit.
Do you want a hand dog?
Put a little alcohol in there and swish it.
Yeah, we might. It's pretty equal, pretty even. And then we can add our stuff like our resin. And the only reason I had us crush this up is just so it'll dissolve faster than alcohol. Like you can put it in there in lumps, but it's like, it's a lot easier just to kind of grind it up and it dissolves better. This is my favorite part here. It smells so good.
How come we don't have a class on cooking herbs?
I don't know. I mean, we're supposed to cover it in other classes.
I have culinary experience. I love to teach them about it.
We have
Chill out.
somebody who reads the directions out of a book, but you don't. That doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not the same. Not as beginning.
I just thought it'd be fun to do that in 162. Let me just keep something. We did a couple of workshops. This is Bing Piano.
Very aromatic.
So then, if somebody wants to help me, we've got to sieve this into the jar. You know, if you spill a little bit on the table, it's okay, because we'll just brush it off and put it in there. Because this is going to be for external use, right?
There's a funnel right there.
Yeah, you can try the funnel.
Yeah.
Although what I've found almost works as good. Just pour it in. No, this will work better actually.
Yeah, that works better.
I've had a couple of
Like this.
experiences.
See this?
Yeah, just kind of stuff it in. So that is good. Yeah, maybe.
Here, let's see.
And so then, basically, it's easy. You just pour liquor over it.
Now it's apart. How far above?
You just pour, again, ideally I'd put like a whole, you could almost put a whole barrel. Yeah, you can pour that whole bottle in there. It's easier to take off the lid. You know, traditionally you cooked it, you boiled it in water, and you threw away all the dregs and you make the decoction. Right? So you've got 2 or 3 levels of protection based on your traditional preparation to keep you protected. But then when they started doing modern things where, oh, we'll just put everything in tinctures, then you started seeing toxicity because no, the tradition knows you don't put it in alcohol. You know, yeah, somebody, I mean, that's a long time. They've had some practice with this.
Did you double the list there?
I didn't. This was like, because we're basically making about 1.25 gallons.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
what's on the list divided.
It's just that because of the herbs that are in it and everything, and because each of these carries only 1 gallon, right? And to make sure everybody gets as much as I told you guys we were going to get, I can't fit it all in one, right? Like we're just about 1/2 gallon of space shy.
We still have to have room so we can move it around.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be able to agitate it a little bit.
And when you store this, does it need to be in a dark location?
Yeah, so the way that they describe it is that you cover it up, you seal it up, right? So it would have been in like a big earth vessel that you would have covered with like, paper or cloth, and then either wax or mud or something like that. And then they say you put it in a cool, dry place, right? So what they usually would do is you'd either stick it in like a storage, cellar or a storage building, or they would bury it in the ground, like dig a hole and put a bunch of the wine jugs and dip-to-jow jugs, and then you just like shovel dirt on top of it and leave it for a year. Okay. And then so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these downstairs, okay, and I'm going to stick them in the black. Take these tags from another class. But, I'm going to put these downstairs in the black cabinet in the herbal formulary. And if you're down there and you're bored sometime, just grab one and, shake it. And you can do that once a month or once a week or something.